Surah Ibrahim, ayah 24 till 27. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربه ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. ومثل كلمة خبيثة كشجرة خبيثة اجتثت من فوق الأرض ما لها من قرار يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ويذل الله الظالمين ويفعل الله ما يشاء. Translation: I seek refuge in Allah from the shaitan, the accursed. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Do you not see how Allah compares a good word to a good tree? Its root is firm and its branches reach the sky, always yielding its fruit every season by the will of its Lord. This is how Allah sets forth parables for the people, so perhaps they will be mindful. And the parable of an evil word is that of an evil tree, uprooted from the earth, having no stability. Allah makes the believers steadfast with the firm word of faith in this worldly life and the hereafter. And Allah leaves the wrongdoers to stray, for Allah does what He wills. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.
Since its inception, Aitchison College has harbored some of the most talented and versatile high school public speakers in Pakistan. Every year, the Mailk Chiragh Challenge Cup is held to provide a unique platform for our students to showcase their aptitude in the realm of public speaking and to contest for the privilege of being declared the best English speaker in the college.
That our distinguished old boys have joined us this afternoon to judge this event. Without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce the adjudication panel for today's event. Mr. Muhammad Umar Chaudhary, Mr. Umar Fadl Jameel, and Mr. Fizan.
Mr. Umar Chaudhary is a Pakistani evangelist and adventure traveler. He graduated from Aitchison College in 1995 and holds a degree in economics and design. He currently runs his own business consultancy firm in Pakistan, working with industry giants all around the country. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Mr. Umar Jameel graduated from Aitchison College in 1992. He completed a bachelor's degree in philosophy in 1996 and went on to start a career in finance, working with companies like Barings Bank and Citibank. After a career change to journalism, Mr. Umar set up the Daily Times newspaper in Pakistan and completed a master's degree in journalism from Columbia University. Now he owns and operates his own PR company, Latitude CRS, in the United Kingdom. Sir, we are honored to have you just this event.
Our third judge, Mr. Fizan, graduated from Aitchison College in 2010 and was a prefect from Robinson House. Today, he is accompanied by his wife, Dr. Leena. He is the co-founder and president of Halo Cars, a rideshare ad tech startup incubated out of Gordon and acquired by Lyft within a year, making it the fastest startup acquisition in UPenn's history. He was selected as a Forbes 30 Under 30 in marketing and advertising North America. He was also selected as an Emory Entrepreneur Awards recipient. He holds a BBA from Emory University and an MBA from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Sir, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. We are greatly honored by your presence.
First topic is, learning is acquired mainly from books, and most readily from great books. The second topic is, climate change is not an existential crisis. The third topic is, call out culture promotes social justice. And the fourth topic is, history is philosophy taught by example. Speakers, please announce your topics before you begin your speech.
As for the rules, the speeches should be between 3 to 4 minutes. After 3 minutes, the bell will ring once, and after the time is up, the bell will ring twice. A speaker may speak for or against any topic. Paper reading is not allowed in any form, including flashcards. Speakers will be judged on their content, delivery, posture, and eye contact. Speakers must refrain from using any foul or inappropriate language in their speeches. The decision of the judges will be final and cannot be reversed.
I would like to formally commence the competition by inviting the first speaker to deliver the speech. We call upon the first speaker to the podium. Allow you have the floor.
Chosen topic is topic number 1. Learning is acquired from books, most notably great books. I'm beginning in 3, 2, 1. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. As the gleaming steel of the guillotine came crashing down over the crimson pool, disjoining heads from large statures and life from the lifeless, the words of Charles Dickens rang true in the streets of Paris. As the clock struck 12 and the bell, once drowned out by the noise of markets and vendors, the deafening crack of some cruel whip signaled the swing of the gallows. Bhagat Singh was hanged, his limp body and pulsating eyes peering into the distance. Yet, the words of his manifesto and the content of his revolutionary fervor etched in his heart rang true in the silence of Lahore. As the dying light of dusk faltered through the iron bars of his final abode, only the scrapping noise of quill and parchment could be heard. But the final passages of Marcus Aurelius' Meditations dictated the presence of a remarkable man and a remarkable spirit in an unremarkable body. These great men and their stories are preceded by no man or person, but rather by the immortal words that they left behind. These stories are inscribed in the fabric of time and history, in the life and death of empires, in the cold and warmth of revolutions, in the happiness and sorrows of a lifetime. The lessons of reality are not stumbled upon by mere chance. They are found in the suffering and the agonizing reality of the tales of these remarkable, sorrowful, grieving individuals who left behind, knowing or unknowingly, the content for our learning today. Learning is undoubtedly achieved by submerging ourselves in the world of their violence, their pain. But, alas, the blood-dimmed tides are loosed and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Ladies and gentlemen, gone are those days when there was a kingdom on this earth where the sun never set. Gone are those days when these books were seen as weapons against ignorance rather than rotten ideas for grounds. This is precisely the time where we ought to read the books that shake us, stab us, wound us, grieve us. The books that hit us like a disaster, like feeling the death of someone we love more than ourselves, like being banished into forests far from everyone else, like a suicide. These books that have given us the lessons for reality, from the works of Milton to the ideas presented by Tolstoy, to the philosophy of Kafka and many others like him, from the meditations of Marcus Aurelius as well as the tales of Alexander the Great, we understand that it is our time now to take up the mantle to do things and take paths which have not been traveled by, to dictate our own story, our own books, based on the dictation of our anger, our love, our passion, our sorrow, our grief, to be remembered. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sadan Amadou. You have the floor, sir.
Examples. Mr. President, I, willing the time to be stopped and have a look at the best and the worst of it, Mr. President, history. Why do we talk about history every time? Why the history of the land when no Roman had set foot here? Why the history of the land when Constantinople had fallen? Why the history of the land when the Pharaoh lay in the pyramids? Why the history of the land when the repetition of history is the gyre of 2 millennia? The conundrum of repetitions, a circular plot with the same exposition, a whisper with a warning for those willing to listen. The pages of history is all you have to remember, my Lord. The pages of history is all you have to remember. My Lord, had it not been for this history, this tale, this open mystery, Athens would not be incarcerated. Mr. X, not Alexander, would have conquered half the world. Mr. Y, not Muhammad bin Qasim, would have been a conquistador. Mr. Z, not Adolf Hitler, would have brought the West to its knees. But my Lord, history did witness the bomb falling on Hiroshima. History did witness the guillotine of King Louis XVI. History did witness the assassination of a man that ignited World War I. History did witness the martyrdom of Hussein by his fellow Muslims. And history did witness that how we, the people, did united to fight COVID-19. And history did witness that how Britain used to fight on the beaches and how they did kneel in front of the subcontinent. The Muslims did God their freeing and independent state, becoming only nuclear Islamic state, defying God that the sun can never set on British Empire, defying God that even the God can't trust British in the dark. And today, their legacy still endures. But today I ask you, Mr. President, sir, I ask you, will history repeat itself? Will Constantinople fall again? Will the Romans set foot upon this land? Is this philosophy a mere cult or a prophecy of disastrous proportions, my Lord? My Lord, the philosophy of history is as sacred as the sands of time themselves. Entrenched within them are the fibers of life, the keys to civilization and the answers to our unanswered questions. But what if there had not been any history? My Lord, when I sat down to write this speech, I opened the chapters of history and found myself standing in the courtyard of mighty Greece Empire, who believed that Sparta alone were protected but it fell at the hands of the Romans. I found myself standing in the courtyard of Mughals, who had wine close to their heart, unlike British, and so they plundered the Mughals to exile. I found myself standing among the colonizers, who believed in the supremacy of the ground so much so that today they stand as a former shadow of themselves, a colony whose prime minister is now ironically an Indian. And for those of you who do not believe that history is philosophy, beware that it is you who have left your masters, not friends, to manipulate your minds, leaving you as mere pawns in their insidious games. You who have willingly turned a blind eye to the atrocities committed by those in power. You who have become nothing but a puppet in the grand theatre of manipulation. My Lord, past illuminates and glory forgotten. All the lessons etched in time, ignored in arrogance. Empires fall and rise, a relentless cycle. We are oblivious to the whispers of history. Mighty civilizations reduced to dust, their wisdom lost in the sands of time. And yet we persist that nothing shall be forever. The echoes of the Roman Empire linger, warnings unheeded, destinies unclear. Remember, the past is our philosophy. To forget is to forfeit, and to repeat is to decay. To forget is to forfeit, and to repeat is to decay. Mr. President, sir, awake. It must be the epoch of belief. But rest assured that the philosophy held by the sands of time will not induce a Faustus-like fate. It may, however, induce a Hamlet-like symptom of self-awareness. So behold me that today I stand as Pakistan, that my flag is an embodiment and my country a living example. So let it be my mantra that transcends beyond the walls of old buildings, that together we shall light the candle of history, because for the greatness of Pakistan knows no bounds. I rest my case.
Third speaker is Mohammed Zuhair. You have the floor, Zuhair.
My topic for today is History is Philosophy taught by exam. Imagine a land, ladies and gentlemen, where haunting echoes of the past meet with equally harrowing cries of the present, where history goes far beyond words but bleeds deep into the sand. History that weaves a tough tale of unabated resistance, history that is a sign of unwavering courage, and history that is a testament to the power of the people. Imagine, if you will, imagine Palestine, Palestine, where every rock has centuries of suffering etched in its being, where every tree speaks undisputedly of the pain it has witnessed. Palestinians are people whose roots are anchored deep into the soils of their homeland, a story that embodies its history as the ultimate philosophy. History then, Mr. President, is not a mere series of events. It's a living sage, one that pulsates with life, one that screams out a profound truth, one that whispers tales of resilience and lessons of justice. History that is not mere history, rather an active philosophy. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to walk you through a journey where the echoes of martyrdom are adorned by the soil, where we witnessed Hussein ibn Ali, the epitome of unyielding faith, the guiding light in the face of tyranny, and a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. Karbala, the eternal inspiration that motivates movements like the Arab Spring. Allow me to walk you through the reassembling of a nation that rose from slavery, Haiti. The philosophy that recognizes dawn after darkness, strength after depths of vulnerability, and redefinition after residing in ruins. Toussaint Louverture, who illuminated the path for the Haitian Revolution, converting a generation of bondage to a republic of freedom. The same philosophy that Martin Luther King embodied against racism, the path that Malcolm X tread, a philosophy that Rosa Parks personified in the civil rights movement, a legacy that these very individuals created, which is evident today through movements like Black Lives Matter. Ladies and gentlemen, our journey together doesn't end here. It continues with us. It lives beyond us. Let us not be page turners in the list of history's pages. Let us be among those who internalize the bold and evident philosophy that history underscores. Let us see every battle, every event, every struggle for its ability to shape our understanding of humanity's potential. Let us see every battle, every event, every struggle, so we understand the wisdom that history encapsulates, reminding us that history is not just mere history, rather philosophy taught by example. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhir. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 25 seconds.
I'd just like to recognize the chief guests for today's ceremony, Madam Amna Kamran, the headmistress senior school and leading head of all schools, as well as Sir Rajan Park, the headmaster for prep school. Our next speaker is Eleventh. You have the floor, Eleventh.
My topic for today is call-out culture does not promote social justice. There is a famous saying that goes, a pet dog will follow. And when someone is unfairly attacked or wrongfully accused, sometimes they respond to it with vitriol or some other intense emotion. It's only natural. This expression came into mind as I watched a sizable subset of the online progressive intelligentsia respond with intense fury, disbelief and indignation to an online letter published by Harper's Magazine in 2020. An online letter with 153 signatories with notable mentions such as J.K. Rowling, Noam Chomsky and Fareed Zakaria. An online letter focused on justice and open debate. An online letter where people voiced their thoughts. As per the Oxford Dictionary, hypocrisy is defined as behavior that does not match the moral standards or actions that somebody claims to have. I believe call-out culture does a significantly better job at explaining this because they believe in combating toxicity.
with even more toxicity. Call-out culture is more about taking revenge for perceived transgressions through any means possible, even if those transgressions have nothing to do with the person doing the calling out. Basically, it's bullying and claiming it's okay because they did it first. This is a perfect display of primitive mob mentality, as their whole agenda is functioning around mere rumors with no sense of justice at all while demanding instant action. Take Connor Daly, for example, an extremely talented NASCAR driver who lost significant sponsorships due to being called out. He was called out for his father making racist comments in the 1980s. Connor was born in 1991. I'm all for letting justice make its way, but ruining people's livelihood over non-criminal acts that they did not commit, that they had no control over. Is this what justice is? This methodology of public shaming takes a hard toll on an individual's mental well-being. Someone berated for some of his past comments would be shunned into silence, with there being little to no room for him to explain. Do you think that individual will be able to learn, to grow, to make amends when all ears fall silent? Do you think that this extremely punitive approach actually promotes social justice? Do you think this promotes freedom of speech? A world where we generously credit the evolution of humanity to our ability to think different is now a world filled with echo chambers where constructive dialogue is different. We should push towards a society where all people think different, think unique, have different thought processes, have unique outputs. People should not be the same as we are all different. Fundamental rights include freedom of speech, and call-out culture significantly denies that. This form of bullying, presented as a culture, can even compel people to disregard their own beliefs, their own thoughts, and follow the herd blindly. Call-out culture is not okay. We should push towards a society where people feel comfortable to express their own opinions and feel comfortable to learn from each other. We should push towards a society that's more empathetic, more exclusive. A society where we all can view ourselves for who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
The next speaker is Sam Dilli. You have the floor, sir.
I'll be doing the fourth topic, history is philosophy taught by example. I'll be beginning in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, today I wish to invite you to embark on a journey across time, inspired by a very famous quote by Thucydides, that history is philosophy taught by example. A timeless reminder of the profound insights to be gathered from the passage of time. For starters, history is not just a collection of events. It's a treasure trove of human experiences. A mirror reflecting our shared struggles, successes, and shortcomings. Thucydides urges us to view history as more than just a chronicle, rather as a wellspring of guidance and wisdom, akin to the very teachings of philosophy. Now, to better illustrate this idea, I'd like to bring reference to a brilliant, remarkable figure in history who perfectly embodies this idea, Simón Bolívar. He was a visionary leader in the early 19th century, credited with the liberation of several South American countries from Spanish colonial rule. His journey was nothing short of relentless, characterized by an unwavering commitment to the principles of self-determination and freedom. His restless pursuit of justice and liberty inspired a flame of revolution across the continent. His tireless devotion to the cause of independence, coupled with his remarkable ability to unite several disparate factions under the same banner of freedom, exemplify the philosophy of unity and resilience. Now, Bolivar's actions, they weren't just historical events, they were vivid illustrations of enduring human values and the relentless quest for justice. To this very day, Bolivar's example continues to inspire nations worldwide, serving as a living testament to the dynamic power of history. In the face of colonial rule, Bolivar's actions, in the face of oppression, Bolivar's actions conveyed a message of resistance and solidified a firm belief in the inherent right of individuals to shape their destiny. Now, Bolivar, he recognized that history isn't static. It's a living, evolving philosophy with the capability to guide our present and shape our future. And this is one of many examples. This is individual in a sea of thousands where change was incited by a single man, a single movement. To conclude, history is philosophy taught by example. This is a rather emotive portrait. It paints a rather beautiful ideal that history isn't a distant past. It's a vast and dynamic source of inspiration with the ability to shine light on a potential brighter tomorrow. And it is through the examples of individuals like Bolivar that we can come to understand and subsequently implement the boundless wisdom trapped within the annals of time. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Muhammad Hassan Imran Malik. You have the floor, sir.
Good afternoon, judges, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be speaking on the topic Call Out Culture Promotes Social Justice. I'll begin in 3, 2, 1. A mother cries for her son, their house bombed in Gaza. Did you hear the scream of the mother? Because I did. Did you see the tears of the father crying for his daughter? Because I did. Did you hear the wail of the child crying for his parents? Because I did. Mr. President, honorable judges, this is the injustice being faced by the people in Gaza right now. It is no different to the injustice being faced in this very land 76 years ago. And in both these cases, the solution comes from call-out culture. Now, for those of you who don't know what call-out culture is, this speech is for you. Call-out culture is defined as an accountability mechanism in society in which people uphold justice by calling out any person who commits wrong. Mangal Pandey invoked call-out culture when he rebuked the British for repressing his religious rights. Muhammad Ali Jinnah invoked call-out culture when he called out the British and fought for a Muslim state. Now this begs the question, why is call-out culture so effective in promoting social justice, and what are the reasons? Let's see why. Firstly, it's because call-out culture begins by raising awareness about a problem. So let's take the example of the United States. When racism was at its peak in the US, when George Floyd was killed by a rogue police officer solely for being a black man, people called it out. Social media called it out. The New York Times called it out. They began the Black Lives Matter movement. They called out the problem, and that then led to social justice. Let's take another example. Call-out culture is effective because it gives poor people a chance to challenge the rich bureaucrats. Does anyone here know about the Kisan movement in India 2 years ago? When India introduced laws reducing the revenue that farmers could earn, the farmers called it out. They went on the streets, and within 6 months, the high and mighty government of India succumbed to call-out culture. Let's take another reason. Call-out culture is effective because it forces the oppressors to defend their stance. You know, there's nothing a bully is more scared of than someone who can call them out. Let's take the example of Israel-Palestine. If all the Muslim nations in the world today unite and call out Israel for their genocide, the West can do nothing then to deny the Palestinians of their rights. If only the Muslim nations understood the power of call-out culture and of unity for social justice. Now, honorable judges, Mr. President, there's another phenomenon we need to discuss, and that is cancel culture, which is something different from call-out culture. Cancel culture is when a person's past statements are taken, and if there's any inflammatory remarks in them, that person is boycotted for the rest of their lives. Now, that's correct in principle, but what we need to make sure is if a person does apologize for their past remarks, or if they show that they've turned over a new leaf, then they shouldn't continue to be called out for their past mistakes. Now, furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, it's imperative that call-out culture should become something we introduce into our daily lives. I don't want this to be a speech you listen, you mark it, you go home without learning a lesson, because call-out culture is a really powerful concept. So what I want is, the next time in your workplace, if you see someone getting undue favored, call it out. If you're in school and you see someone getting bullied, call it out. If you're on the streets and you see someone getting harassed, call it out. Because if you don't, then how will social justice be upheld? Honorable judges, I would like to end with the following quote. Never underestimate the power of a small group of people committed to change the world. In fact, it is the only thing which ever has, because little things can have big consequences, and that is what we learn from call-out culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 55 seconds.
Dr. Rina, this is Dr. Mohan Kamran. He's actually the Deputy Headmaster. And that's Madam Anda.
We call upon the next speaker, Empress Mailk.
My topic for today is climate change is not an existential crisis. Remember what the Amalek did to you. We fought then and we are fighting now. These were the words of an enraged Benjamin Netanyahu a couple of days ago. The very problem that is currently occurring in the Israel-Palestine region, the usage of white phosphorus bombs, the Iron Dome missile structure, the ground invasion of Gaza, so on and so forth. I would like to ask you, is this problem related to climate change, or is it due to the political instability in the Middle East, or the sheer violation of international law and absolutely no respect for the United Nations Charter, or the resolutions of the United Nations Security Council, or the resolutions of the United Nations Human Rights Council, which is a cause of the very problem at hand in the Israel-Palestine region? Brian Stevenson once mentioned, the opposite of poverty is not wealth. The opposite of poverty is justice. Yes, it is this justice that many people in Pakistan are not getting. An example of this is, over half of the world's population lives on slightly more than $1 a day. Extreme poverty levels are rising, especially in third world countries such as Pakistan. Income inequality is at its peak, and net income hasn't increased in the United States since 1983. Following World War II, the IMF and the World Bank, two multinational big banks, were created in order to bring about structural radical reforms across the globe. But have they been successful in doing that? The answer to that is no. They have done nothing but to promote brutal capitalism. And Pakistan, as we all know, is suffering from that. An example of that is the 26th IMF program that Pakistan is currently facing, and the very fact that Bloomberg has mentioned Pakistan will need another IMF program as well in the coming days. I may ask, once again, is this a bigger problem, or is the scientific consensus on climate change a bigger problem? The rise in far-right movements, the lack of respect for minorities, both religious and ethnic, and the lack of respect for women and human rights. An example of which can be the incident that occurred in Chiragh, or can be the example of the lynching of a factory worker in Sialkot. Is this a bigger problem, or is the notion of scientific consensus a bigger notion? 42% of Pakistan's children are stunted. Is this a bigger problem, or is the consensus, scientific consensus on climate change a bigger problem? In the heated political scenario of the subcontinent, can we imagine Punjab of Pakistan and Punjab of India to sit down together and find a solution to the problem of smog which has choked us? The answer to that is no. So, honorable judges and fellow students, Mother Earth is facing the problem of climate change, but Mother Earth demands that the problems such as the Russia-Ukrainian war, such as the Israel-Palestine conflict, the lack of human rights in Pakistan, outside Pakistan, These problems must be solved first. Thank you.
Three minutes and 45 seconds.
3 minutes and 45 seconds. Next up, we have Zain Zishan Miller.
The topic that I will be speaking on is how the call-out culture promotes social justice. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. Mr. President, venerated judges, esteemed faculty members, and my fellow students. The year is 73 BC. In the city of Capio, a courageous Spartacus rebels. For he has dared to call out the Republican consuls, offending those in power. 2,000 years later, during the apartheid in South Africa, Nelson Mandela unites his people in the noble pursuit of social justice by calling out the ruling national government's oppressive policies. And on May 25th, 2020, in streets of Minneapolis, George Floyd's tragic death sparks mass call-outs of the US authorities as the society's collective conscience refuses to bat an eye on injustice, yielding the voices as weapons of harm. Mr. President, the conventional dictionary defines call-out culture to be an interpersonal occurrence of confrontation between individuals, however seldom truly grasp the depth of its elucidation. It is that feeling of refusal to silence in the face of oppression and inequality. It is the moral compass that guides us away from the treacherous waters of apathy and complacency. It is the deep-rooted empathy for the wronged that kindles a collective responsibility, igniting movements of genuine and lasting change. Change, ladies and gentlemen, whose transformative power history has borne witness to. It seeks manifestation from the resolute voices of the abolitionists who fearlessly denounced the shackles of slavery, igniting another outcry, collective, of human dignity. Embodied within female rights, we see these suffragettes protesting, raising their voices, having a triple effect on the generations to come, inspiring movements like the Me Too movement. All of these speak to a new dawn, Honorable Judge. A dawn of justice all around, similar to the words of Martin Luther King, where he proclaims, injustice anywhere is justice, threatened everywhere. Yet in this pursuit of justice everywhere, the spirit of call-out culture must not be devolved into a tool of selfless and senseless vilification and a propagation of a culture of fear. On the other hand, adapting to the principles of compassion, empathy, and recognizing that calling out is indeed not to tear down, but to build up an inclusive and equitable society. empowers us to counter, dismantle these structures that fuel silence. Silence, ladies and gentlemen, that our society can no longer afford. Silence that we must rid ourselves of. And silence that has no place as we embark on this journey as actors of change. And call out transgressors of peace, security, justice, and equality. Albert Einstein once said, "Be a voice, not an echo." 73 BC, as the Spartacus movement enunciates thousands of expressed opinions. 1994, as South Africa reforms social justice and equality. And 2023, as the Black Lives Matter movement is spread across the world. It is time that we too become voices, Mr. President. It is time that we too become voices. Thank you.
Thank you, Zen. The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
History. It always repeats itself. First as tragedy, then as farce. Mr. President, venerated judges, esteemed members of the faculty, and fellow speakers, these words of Karl Marx lead to the question, why? As we discuss this topic, it's very easy to get lost in academics. It's very easy to get lost in rhetoric. And it is very easy to get lost in the historical references. But fret not, this is not a historical lecture, but a short insight into what shapes it. Allow me to illustrate the Enlightenment. Voltaire's pen echoed the challenges of censorship in France, while Rousseau's pen's ink drops on the pages of social contract, challenging the societal inequalities. 1789. These philosophies lead the Third Estate to bring about the fall of the Bastille in France. An event backed by philosophy that changed the course of what we today know as French history. 200 years later, a philosopher, poet, and politician in British India presents the two-nation theory. Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal presents a political philosophy that sparks separation. 1947. The boundary lines of Pakistan and India make themselves visible on the world map. An event backed by philosophy changes the course of what we today know as the subcontinent's history. Mr. President, these are all theories which got transmuted into events. Mere philosophies backed by examples that we today learn in our history books as world history. But at a first glance, history and philosophy appear as polar opposites. In reality, they're inextricably bound. Because the philosophical concepts of those of the Enlightenment, whether it's embraced
realism and individualism show how they have reduced history as a concept. The philosophies of Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi have presented the course of history, not only as statements, but backed by philosophy. Allow me to illustrate. These philosophies are not only backed by mere words in history textbooks, because history serves as a crucible of philosophical concepts. History serves as the crucible of philosophy. How? It ensures that every single aspect, every single being that we study today are learned not only through mere words, but through concepts that existed before. So why is it? Why is it that history repeats itself? It's because it is the same philosophies that shaped the past, that shaped the present, and that will shape the future. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
Our next speaker is Eleventh.
I will be speaking on the topic history as philosophy taught by example.
Extremely minute, it grows, the silence, proliferating, invading, encroaching and suffocating each and every functional organ of our civilization. Slowly, steadily, step by step, leading to its critically unstable state until finally our civilization ceases to exist. We buried children, but we didn't bury their courage. We didn't bury their beliefs, and we didn't bury their legs. The 8-year-old Abdul runs out of the rubble to save what is left of his tarnished family as another set of missiles are fired towards his neighborhood in Gaza. An innocent child, shrouded in dust and debris, left to wonder whether there is a Messiah, a man of God, a man of passion, a man of intellect, who can help him out and propagate that bullets and guns are not the decorations of the playhouses of Palestinian children. To propagate that a stolen childhood is never returned and that the indelible marks of trauma only make life miserable and pleasurable death. History has taught us, venerated judges and Mr. President, to believe that amidst cries of revolutionaries, it is the silence of our communities that echo the reason for our failure. Our incompetence, our ignorance, and our incapacity. From Voltaire's psychological expression to Schopenhauer's theory on how what is will proves the fact that humans are self-driven only by their interests, we realize that philosophy ripples with answers to our benighted behavior. We find that the human is a precarious social animal that is always driven by his personal interests. And so we find a connection to the future today while we examine human behavior. How convincing! Honorable judges, allow me to take you on a journey through history's puzzling nature as we stand near the cross and witness the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. He has been put on trial for blasphemy because he claimed kingship over the Jews. The man who cured the leper and brought back the blind man's sight has been executed. Not a long leap into the future, honorable judges, as we move into Makkah, where the holy prophet of Islam, Muhammad, has been persecuted and abused by the pagan chiefs of Makkah and Taif. The man who completed the divine message has been rejected. Mr. President, let us turn our attention to the situation today. The same party that led the son of Mary to Pontius because he preached against their belief on ownership now bombard Palestinian territory with 18,000 tons of bombs dropped on the Gaza Strip. They claim to have a right to their land. But rights do not exist. They are made to exist. If they are to endure, they are to be shared. The crime remains the same, ladies and gentlemen. The perpetrators have changed. And the perpetrators of a greater violence, a shadow presence behind the blood-stained stones of Jerusalem, remain the same party that refused to be woken by the message of jihad and the call to prayer. The Muslim nations of the world today have bowed down before the institutions of greed and corruption. Arabia, the home of flourishing ideals, has now become a center of planning for Western imperialism. Mr. President and venerated judges, Vijit qui say Vijit. He conquers who conquers himself. India may be synonymous with religious fundamentalism, associated with the fall of the Babri Masjid, but wasn't it also home to Mother Teresa? Was not Horus standing between revolution and salvation as he left Yazid's party to join Hussein's camp of 72 martyrs? Did not the Joan of Arc show us that the dance of freedom must continue even if we are rattled by chains? Perhaps we always have an option. To choose from Kant's dignity or the moral ingenuity of nature. To choose where we wish to stand today. To choose to stand on the right side of history. All this bickering and fighting amongst yourselves makes me sick. For magnifying our differences only makes us distant. And in distance lies our greatest weakness. We are humans who become what we think. And our greatest strength exists in being aware of love. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 35 seconds. we call upon the next speaker, Chiragh. You have the floor.
Assalamualaikum. I was speaking on the first topic, learning is most readily acquired from books. I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. Roses, tulips, oaks, willow trees. Revered judges, exalted faculty, my fellow speakers. I'm not here to prepare you for a botany quiz, but instead to illustrate a garden. A garden of minds, where each leaf, each sprouting bud represents a lesson learned, a book read. Let us take the mighty oak, strong and spirited, a symbol of fundamentals, foundation. Let's liken it to the classics, because millennia ago, Aristotle and Plato sat below these very oaks in a warm summer day in ancient Greece, fiercely debating what is right and why. Their discourse, inked on pages of parchment, have set the fundamentals of thinking and established civilization. In the decrepit slums of Bethlehem or the roaring sand dunes of Arabia came a redefinition of our understanding of morality and ethics. The Bible, the Quran, the Torah, each have and always continue to teach their followers right from wrong, good from bad. They safeguard them from the strongholds of malice and hatred with the open embrace of love and compassion. Years later, a branch breaks and an apple falls. As Newton's on leave from Cambridge, he discovers gravity. Ancient texts found in the Gupta Empire in India or the House of Knowledge in Baghdad become the pedestals upon which modern scientists stand able to question. They stand able to innovate. They stand able to learn. Mr. President, our garden seems to be getting a little too brown and green. Let's introduce a little bit of color. Let's plant some flowers. Literature. Don Quixote's weary steed, Othello's infidelity, or Humpty Dumpty's great fall, each a lesson, a parable. Literature's sweet nectar invites pollinators from all walks of life to read, to question, and finally to learn. As we venture on this journey tirelessly, Mr. President, we begin to grow hungry. Let us now feast on the fruits of knowledge, practical implementations of abstract thought dating back centuries. Faced with desperation and poverty, Marx pens the Communist Manifesto, hoping to finally create a society of equality, utopia. Instead, he creates red-blooded, grey-uniformed comrades hell-bent on warfare. A parallel, yet an abstract, absolutely different. A young Rahmat Ali pens the Now or Never pamphlet, inciting revolution, freeing his Muslim brethren from the binds of British Raj, giving them a voice and a platform to finally fight persecution as one nation. Ladies and gentlemen, though our tour of this magnificent garden now draws to a close, to say that this marks the end of learning is folly. For each bud and each leaf is ripe for exploration, a universe ready to be determined. Honorable judges, each book and each lesson that we learn is one that is imparted for life. And great books in this boundless garden are not ones that are like leaves that tremble in the wind. Instead, they are eternal blooms that provide shade, that provide color, that provide depth. So let us all continue to cultivate our own gardens, because in these books lies the essence of learning. In these books lies the essence of greatness. Thank you. That provide shade, that provide color, that provide depth. So let us all continue to cultivate our own gardens, because in these books lies the essence of learning. In these books lies the essence of greatness. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
call upon our next speaker, Pacha Wasim. You have the floor, Wasim.
My topic for today is Call Out Culture Promotes Social Justice. I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. 57, 58, 59, 60. The clock strikes 12. A small family in New Delhi, India turns on their television to see their father and husband being taken into custody. A local journalist in New York posted a tweet talking about injustice in society. The very next day, he was shot in cold blood. The similarity in these cases was that two individuals spoke about civil rights in their own respective districts. Mr. President, esteemed judges, respected faculty members and my fellow students, attaining social justice has been the foundation of every legal document that exists in the world. It is rather simple. One does something wrong, the other calls them out, they are held accountable. The only problem that stands in our path is the existing class division that has been established due to our social system. The Marxist theory of Karl Marx and Emil Durkheim serves right when they talk about our accountability systems being flawed and unable to capture the upper class culprits. And it serves right when Foucault talks about the lower class being unable to understand the power of the upper class. The global accountability system has been formulated in such a way that the power is in the hands of a certain group of individuals, and that is where the concern rises. The revolt commences when the populace stands up, raises their concerns, talks against the bourgeoisie, and then what happens? What happens is that their cases are shut. The court doors are shut. The police stations are shut, and the ministry offices are shut. Ladies and gentlemen, we are encouraged to take matters to social media. Social media erupts. A week later, all accusations are deemed as false, and people are forced to get on with their lives. The archives of history echo in shambles. 1857. Mangal Pandey refuses to use the rifles introduced by the British colonizers. He prioritizes religious values over serving the colonizers. His people stood by him, the subcontinent stood by him, yet Mangal Pandey was dragged to the gallows and sentenced to death. Mr. President, only if the discrepancies in society are dealt with, only then will we be able to utilize call-out culture. Only then will we be able to exercise our right to free speech. Now once again, the populace has rose. The populace has rose against the illegitimate capture of a father and a husband. Once again, concerns are raised regarding the illegal killing of a local journalist. May morals and ethics prevail over power and liberty. Thank you.
talking on the topic.
I'll be speaking on the topic history is philosophy taught by example. I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. One of the deepest impulses in man is the impulse to record. To chalk a drawing on a canvas or keep a diary so that it may be preserved, for the very value of the past is what it signifies. Mr. President, venerated judges, esteemed faculty members and fellow seekers of wisdom, allow me to delve into the profound truths and the depths of our shared human narrative. Allow me to take the unconventional way and present to you the perspective of a songbird, a phoenix of sorts that saw history unfold. The songbird currently soars above the city of Athens. The year is 399 BC. An aging Socrates is forced to sip hemlock as if it was wine just because he embraced death rather than compromising his intellectual integrity. His unwavering commitment to questioning, his relentless pursuit of knowledge, and his willingness to face the consequences exemplifies history. And Mr. President, history becomes the teacher, convincing the bird that the pursuit of truth often comes at great personal cost. The songbird ascends towards the sky, and when it returns, the scene has changed. An old man with a shroud-like cloth, covered in a shroud-like cloth, advocates for non-violence, making the statement that what you adorn will not ever matter. Greatness is found beyond the idea of tangibles. Mahatma Gandhi's idea and philosophy of non-violence became a guiding light for the principle and for the fight against oppression. Gandhi's life story not only acts as a testament to the very statement that philosophy is actually history applied, it actually became the very cornerstone of independence. I apologize for the inconvenience. Sorry, I can't speak more. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 26 seconds.
We must now call our final speaker, Sultan Khan. You have the floor, Sultan.
I'll be speaking on the first topic. Learning is mainly gained from books and most readily from game books. I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. A man sits at his desk, like millions before him, and considers his next sentence. The icy winds of winter beat against his door as he writes of Napoleon's ill-advised invasion into Russia's cold front. The wick of his candle struggles to stay alive, burning as he writes of the French Revolution, as he writes of the audacity inherent to the French autocracy, as he writes of love and hate. He writes of the concert of Europe, of the egos upon which millions of lives come to rely. The man's name is Leo Tolstoy, and for his efforts to create a short novel, he would produce so much more. He would produce something powerful, something impactful, something unique. War and Peace, a 1,200-page manuscript filled with nothing more than one man's voice as he rambles in nothing but stubborn fact about the reality of his time. Another, Carl Jung, seeks to understand his own insanity. Another, George Orwell, seeks to teach us the harms of surveillance and power. Ray Bradbury seeks to teach us what it means to be apathetic, what it means to not care. Jane Austen to teach us what it means to be prideful, the harms that come with prejudice. Mary Shelley to teach us to look for nuance in those we call harmful, to those we call violent. When pen comes to paper, dipped readily in the ink of our souls, prepared with the wordplays of our mind, it does not just reach our own generation, but it reaches far, far beyond. Dusty old books filled with nothing but the words of old dead men, packaged as echoes from the past, passed through the halls of history. But it is not merely through age that we garner knowledge. It is age compacted with more, age compacted with experience, compacted with perspective. We live in the fastest age to date, an era where facades and charades flood the facetious ideas that we hold dearly in our fields, in the fields of our hearts. An age where information is faster than the proof of that information. The result? A disunity between knowledge and those that it seeks, knowledge and its scholars. A mismatch between the desire for financial support, for financial sustenance, and the desire to know. A battle fought laterally across Maslow's hierarchy of needs, from the foundation to exist to the foundation of the need to know. Books are a strange thing. Visitors from the past. They have survived through much. The fires of time, likened to those that hit the Library of Alexandria, through many impactful wars. Yet they remain steadfast, guaranteed truth in a world full of nothing but lies. But great books are something different. Great books are more than just things that have withstood time. They have thrived. Books that remain excellent even to those who have nothing to do with the topics. Books that remain prevalent even today as we talk about issues in Palestine, about the issues of the power play of the world, about superpowers and nukes. Books written by men who had no idea that planes would ever come to exist, yet who are still important to us today. This is because great books are different. They are not made of paper. They are made of fire. Books like the Eleventh, books like 1984, books like Foundation, books like Frankenstein, books like The Grapes of Wrath, books so powerful, so impactful that they singe the souls of those who choose to read them and harm them, not harmfully, but lovingly for the rest of their lives. Read great books, not only for their knowledge, not only for what they bring you, but for the passion that they will ignite in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sultan. The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Thank you, Alawi. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Sadan Amir Lodi. You have the floor, Sadan. Thank you, Sadan. The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
Is Mohammed Zuhair Sami. You have the floor, Zuhair.
Ladies and gentlemen, our journey together doesn't end here. It
Minutes and 25 seconds.
You have the floor, Emil. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 42 seconds.
Thank you, Hassan. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 55 seconds.
Speaker, Ahmed Ismail Sheikh. You have the floor. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Next up, we have Zain Zishan Malik. Thank you, Zain. The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
Ahmed Mustafa Yasir. Thank you, Ahmed. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
The speaker is Haider Aliullah Khan. You have the floor, Haider.
The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 35 seconds. The next speaker, Shahid Ali Babar. You have the floor, sir. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Khwaja Bazil Sami. You have the floor, Bazil. Speaker is Danial Mubashir. Sultan Khwaja. You have the floor, Sultan. Thank you, Sultan. The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Speak a few words to the audience. And it's called upon Mr. Umar to be. A few words to the audience.
Faculty for inviting myself and my fellow judges over here. It's an incredible honor to be back in incredible halls. I would say, I think my fellow judges will agree that every single speaker was incredible. So, all you boys should give yourself a hand. For all of us, I think the quality has just risen so high since my days, definitely. And it's a very close competition, so irrespective, you're all winners in my eyes.
I'd like to call upon Mr. Fazan to come up on stage. A few words to the audience.
Not much left for me to add, thanks to Mr. Omar, but everybody was excellent. As you mentioned that during my time wasn't that long ago compared to the other judges out there. So I was there 13 years ago, and it was, the standard was not this time. So if any of you were competing here 2 years ago, you would have won definitely. We were not this fantastic. But either way, thank you so much for having us here. It's always a pleasure to be back on campus. And during my time, we weren't actually allowed to leave this building very frequently. I think it was considered more of a hazard.
Yes.
But yes, there was that. At least that's what they told us.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it does look really nice for its time. But thank you so much for having us. And once again, congratulations. You guys are all fantastic. I'm sure you'll do incredible things afterwards too. And once again, your standard is phenomenal. So congratulations to you.
I would like to call upon Madam Anna on stage to present two tokens of appreciation to our judges. Now, I'd like to call upon Mr. Umar Chaudhary.
Now the moment you have all the results for the way, including pool and the Mailk challenge. I would like to call upon Mr. Mujibur to come to the stage to shake hands with the winner.
Third is, we have Chiragh.
Mr. Mohammed Zuhair Sami. And for the winner of the competition, we have Assam and Inzit. I would now like to call all the participants to come up to the stage for a picture and also
Yesterday, thank you very much.